Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to my channel. Today we are building a base game only house, and I never thought I would say that. Definitely. I am such a huge fan of using all of the packs and using literally every item that I possibly can in every one of my houses. And a base game only house is something that I just simply never thought I would even attempt to do. I always, commend people who are able to do base game only homes. There are people and channels that literally just do base game primarily, and they do it so beautifully. And I have always kind of looked up to them and been like, you are killing the game. I absolutely love your homes, but I personally could never do it. Like, I need all of the packs. Sometimes, and for a while, it was a struggle not to use even custom content because I feel even like so limited in that. But we recently received a big group of newcomers to The Sims 4. The Sims, if you didn't know, if you haven't heard, was absolutely free for about a week, maybe two, for people to download. So that means that we now have a large portion of the community that is brand new to the game and maybe doesn't own any of the expansion packs or stuff packs. So you need some really, really nice houses to download into your game. The houses that you get in the game itself, some of them are better than others. Personally, when it comes to like the base game worlds, I don't really love any of the houses you get. So if you didn't know, you can go down to the gallery and find houses to download. And this specifically, along with like all sorts of other people, I've seen lots of creators doing this recently, is a base game only home. And I've seen mansions, I have seen nightclubs, I've seen all sorts of stuff that people have made, but I decided, you know what, I really need to do this. I need to challenge myself and give it a good go. It's a big challenge for me because I'm a clutter person, so I love to use all of the clutter from all the different packs, and it's just a challenge in general to limit yourself really down to a few items. So base game does come with a fair few amount of things, and over time we have gotten more and more stuff that's added to base game that I really think helped, especially with one of the more recent patches. We got a couple of new careers, and that entailed a couple of brand new items, like some new bookcases, some new clutter, stuff like that. And you're going to see that most definitely in this build. I definitely needed all of that and more when it came to trying to do this. But yeah, I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to do something really pretty, really knock this out of the park. I wanted people to look at this and not even know that it's a base game only build, because to me, this is just my opinion, base game only builds have this look to them. And it's just very basic looking. It looks like you are limiting yourself in a way. And it's maybe something that people who don't play or build regularly wouldn't necessarily notice. But I feel like I can usually call a base game build without even looking at the title, just based off of the certain items that get used. You only have a certain amount of doors, columns, windows. So obviously things are going to get repeated. But I wanted people to look at this from the thumbnail and not even know that it's a base game only build. So I really wanted to challenge myself on this one. And I was actually inspired by a photo that Semguru Frost had tweeted out a while ago. And somebody did this beautiful little cottage sunflower farm. And the photo was absolutely stunning. I was blown away by it. And I was going through something else recently, and I was reminded of it again. So I wanted to give my own attempt at a sunflower farm. So this is going to be a very small 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom farmhouse with some low rolling hills of sunflower fields. We're going to do 2. I also wanted to do a gazebo, a garden area, some ponds, really work the landscaping, work with some terrain tools, do lots and lots and lots of plants. I'm actually building in Brindleton Bay, which is the world that you get with cats and dogs. So obviously if you're new to the game and you have only base game, this is not a world that is currently accessible to you, but it just felt like it fit in really well with the aesthetic of Brindleton Bay, so that's why I am building here. And I tried to keep it on a smaller-ish lot, but I did want to work with the terrain tools, so you need to give yourself a little bit of room to give that kind of roll to the land and use the terrain so that it doesn't like jut up at the edges of the property line and look really, really out of place. So we have the sunflower field that's going out and around the back. I'm actually going to do another one in the very front of the house. And like I said, I did want to use the terrain so that you could get that rolling feel and get that like really organic look to it that would have looked so different had I just kept this lot flat. Bringing the elevation up and really giving the hills just gives it so much more of like a summery, light, farmhousey feel, and something that you would actually see in real life. So I don't actually use terrain tools very often, and the reason, and then I've said this before, but I don't use them because I feel like they're broken. They don't work super well, and they also cause crazy camera issues. And by camera, I mean like my Sims camera that you are using to build and you are seeing the game with. You get a lot of jutting, you get a lot of random like up and down, and it doesn't really make for the best building situation. But for this, it just felt so important for me to have it. And I feel like in general for farms, and I've really been wanting to do farms. I wanted to do like a really big farm. I wanted to do a vineyard, and play with some of the land a little bit. So I feel like it was important to have. And other than that, we're just keeping everything kind of basic as base game is. Luckily, we do have a lot of plants in base game, and that's where this build really shines and really makes the best of the situation. So one thing I do have to let you all know, I have lost about half the footage for this build. At any moment here, there's actually going to be a jump, and it's going to be a pretty major jump. And I use an Elgato capture card to record all of my videos, and 9 times out of 10, it is stellar. It works perfectly. Nothing is wrong. But every once in a while, and more so recently, and I'm kind of trying to figure out if something is actually wrong, like maybe it's broken, not really sure. I have had this issue where my footage gets corrupt and it is unfixable. You can literally not do anything about it. There's usually ways to work around it, but for this, it just records about half of what I'm doing, and then it stops recording and it doesn't tell me. And I really felt like I hit this out of the park the first time around so well. I was so happy with it that I didn't want to even give this another attempt, which is what I've done in the past. When footage corrupts, I will usually, believe it or not, rebuild the whole thing and record for the second time. And that works out sometimes, but for this, I really loved it the first time around, and it didn't feel right to go back and try it again and give like an inauthentic second go when the first version was really the best one. So there is going to be a cut, and what got cut unfortunately is a lot of the landscaping on the outside, the pond making, the garden, and the first floor furnishing. So like I said, this is actually a 2-bedroom farmhouse. I've made it look a little bit older on purpose. A lot of the items I feel like from base game do look a little bit older in general, so it just felt natural to maybe give this house a stranger shape on the inside and play with wall shapes and room shapes to make it look a little bit older, and do a really large kitchen, living room that you walk straight into, and then upstairs you have the master bedroom, which takes up a big portion of the upstairs, if not all, just plus the stairway. And then down here, a smaller room that I've designed for like a teenager, maybe a young adult, and a really, really tiny bathroom, like so tiny that I didn't even have room to put a sink, so your Sims are gonna have to come out of the bathroom and use the sink in the kitchen, but that's okay. That's all right. That happens every once in a while. And yeah, we're just using a lot of bright colors, but keeping it natural and not cartoony looking. So bright like yellows and oranges, a little bit here and there with some whites, and some of the pieces of furniture that I just don't use, like some of those older looking carpets. And I really did have the idea of maybe an older couple or an older set of parents and their young adult child living in the house with them as like a general theme. So I even thought of maybe like a younger a younger person with their grandparents living in this house on like their little farm. And personally, I am super hoping, and I know that this is probably like not everybody's wish right now, but I personally would rather see them do a farming game pack or expansion pack over University, and I hope that they do it sometime soon, which is the only reason that I haven't done like a truly dedicated farm, because I am hoping that if we do get that as an expansion, that we are going to get horses and chickens and things like that, and I would hate to go in and already do a farm and really like put everything into it and then not have that packet announced and then need all of that stuff and have to do it again. But actually, that might not be such a bad idea, because maybe some people would like a couple of pack farm and then do like a brand new one dedicated when we get the new farming pack, if we do. So if that's something you'd like to see, I have been itching to build a farm, a really large farm, and maybe even a vineyard. That's something else that I've been really wanting to do. So if that's something that interests you, comment down below, let me know in the comment section, and I will make it happen. I'm definitely taking suggestions right now because we are in a little bit of a content lull, but that's okay. Sometimes that creates the best things. Sometimes that's when I get my most creative. So we'll take it in strides. And I know that this is a really strange shape for the stairs. I know that there's a very weird closet right there in the front. And then you've got this kind of dead space underneath the stair. But I wanted to do something very strange with this house, and I decided to use that as a storage area. I almost did a basement, but I couldn't really find a place where I could put the stairs that weren't completely in the way, although a house like this probably would have a rather large basement. But realistically, if I was going to do that, I would have done laundry down there, and laundry is its own pack. Without base game, you cannot use it. So to keep this house as small as possible, that is probably like the best way to go, because you just don't have so many items. So you want to not have too much room, so you don't have like a lot of dead space going on. And the upstairs is probably the more colorful portion of the home. I brought in some blues and stuff, which again, you guys unfortunately are not going to get to see, but you can see it if you want to go ahead and download it, and you literally have no excuse because it's a base game only build, so anybody can download it if they want to. And it just is a cute little farmhouse with a couple of Sims in mind. Yeah, I did want to put like some paintings and stuff like that underneath the stairway. So moving into the screenshots and to the end of the video. I hope you guys like this. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. Would you like to see more base game houses? And if so, give me a theme so that I can like bring it in one direction or another. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that little bell icon below to turn on post notifications so you can get updated every single time I post. And I'll talk to you all in the next one.